The Brigham Young University Public School Partnership brings together one of the nation's largest private universities with 5 public school districts located along the Wasatch Mountains in the state of Utah. BYU is sponsored by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and the 5 public school districts, Alpine, Jordan, Nebo, Provo, and Wasatch, vary in size and serve both rural and suburban communities. Together, this partnership includes approximately 1/3 of all the K-12 students in the state of Utah and 1/4 of the teachers and administrators. BYU has a full-time student enrollment exceeding 33,000. Since 1984, the BYU Public School Partnership has been dedicated to the renewal of educator preparation and public schooling.
I wasn't here in 1984 when the formal partnership began, but I do know that historically that's the year that the 5 school districts and Brigham Young University got together to initiate the public school partnership, BYU Public School Partnership. And under the direction and consultation of John Goodlad, that's where it began. His model included, it was basically a tripartite that included school districts, schools of education or colleges of education at universities, as well as the arts and sciences at the university, because they also contribute to teacher education. Since then, we have thrived and grown immensely. To me, one of the key principles is simultaneous renewal. Renewal is a huge issue or a topic for us in the partnership. Renewal implies that we're trying to get better. And I really like the term simultaneous because it implies that both the university is renewing and improving their teacher preparation and other school personnel preparation programs.
One of the aspects of simultaneous renewal is the idea that we don't let things fall apart as we see a challenge or a problem. We work to improve that problem. Of course, the second aspect of simultaneous renewal is to look at innovation and how do we approach getting better? What is it that we can do that would make us more effective in our preparation of teachers or in the support of good schools?
True renewal has periods of growth, and it has periods of rest and periods of fallow and periods of harvest. And so if one were to draw a map of renewal, it would not be a straight ascending line. It would be more like a spiral with a gentle upward trajectory.
Trust is critical. I think in my mind it's the number one important relationship that you have to have with other people. It means everything. And I think we have a partnership that has that trust.
So you have 2 different distinct systems, and bringing those systems together to both seek improvement and to get better together takes a lot of work. It isn't without intentionality. If you approach it that whatever may be, you will not have a strong partnership. It requires effort, it requires diligence, and it requires dedication. So for a partnership to really work between in a professional development school environment, you have to have both the university and the public schools system collaborating intently and with strong interests in seeking improvement.
My relationship with the superintendents of the 5 school districts that we're partnering with is awesome. When I tell my colleagues across the country that I have the opportunity to meet with them monthly for an 1.5 to 2 hour meeting, they're amazed that we spend that much time together as we are planning and fine-tuning the things that we're doing in professional development for their teachers and other school personnel and in our teacher preparation program. I don't think I could ever have that type of a relationship with them if we didn't have that consistent meeting where we were planning and problem solving together. As leaders, we get together twice a year. So it's not just the superintendents, but it's other school district personnel with some of the key leaders at the university, even in our arts and sciences colleges. that get together twice a year in a day-and-a-half retreat to talk about the commonalities we have and to share experiences. And we had an academic vice president, which would be equivalent to a provost, come to one of our meetings, and at the end he said, "Wow, this is like attending a family reunion. You guys know each other, you have relationships, you care about each other, you're not just doing job talks, but you're talking about each other's children and what's happening in their lives." And he just was very impressed with the relationship that we had, and I have really treasured that as dean.
I believe that partnerships start with a foundation of trust and saying we care about each other. And so you have to begin in any partnership by saying, what are the relationships? To have strong relationships, you have to be very thoughtful about resources. And one of the key fundamental resources that you think about is time. Where do we find the time to work together? How do we carve out time in terms of structures for conversation or in terms of resolving and seeking resolution of problems? So I think the longevity of a partnership is often reflective of the commitment that you have toward spending time and personally identifying some of the gifts that you can bring to a partnership as a member or a participant in order to help that partnership flourish and grow.
I think several of the strengths of our current BYU Public School partnership include the respect that we demonstrate one to another, that the university personnel respects what they're doing in the schools and vice versa. One of the real values is that I have seen individuals sacrifice their own personal desires or ambitions for the benefit of the partnership. And I think that is just very admirable.
Any healthy relationship, for that matter, in any environment, requires alternating moments of reciprocity when I am needy and when I am able to be the benefactor.
The whole principle associated with simultaneous renewal is both personal and organizational. And when you focus on what you can give, what gifts do you bring to the partnership, and what gifts do you receive from others, that's an organizational process of renewal. And then, of course, through those interactions, you find a great deal of personal renewal. So it's very much possible to have both organizational and personal renewal. I found that innovation is significantly enhanced through partnerships as you feed off ideas from each other, as you identify ways to get better. And so certainly innovation and responding to research, responding to best practice, those are all outcomes that are able to flourish under a partnership.
The idea of renewal in a partnership seems to me that it's this alignment between personal renewal and the renewal of the organization. And the way that happens in my experience is that, of course, as learning individuals, we are always in the process of learning and growing and acquiring new knowledge. But in the specific sense of the partnership, there is this willingness to align our efforts toward personal renewal with the specific needs of the partnership. And that doesn't mean that 100% of personal renewal needs to be aligned. In fact, I would argue that would not be a productive thing. But that in those overlapping circles between my renewal and the organization's renewal, there needs to be enough in common that I can be assured that my efforts at personal growth are contributing in very direct and meaningful ways to the growth of the partnership and the organization. And one of the reasons that I think the BYU Public School Partnership has been so successful in cultivating that desire to align personal stewardship with the collective stewardship of the partnership has been its firm and unwavering commitment to a few foundational principles.
I think as you contemplate a partnership, you have to think about the purpose of the partnership. And one of the challenges that any partnership has is to define what their role is and where they're going. What is their mission? What are their values? And so I think one of the strengths that we've had at the BYU Public School Partnership is just a solid foundation based on a core set of principles that have endured even almost 4 decades. Those principles help drive our work and our collaboration and serve as a real compass or a North Star in the way we operate and how we collaborate together.
And in my experience, any complex achievement that involves multiple voices gathering around a really thorny problem is successful only when you can find that beginning point, that point of departure, that common moral ground upon which everyone can agree.
One of the things that you have to consider is how do we keep leaders engaged. Certainly if a very important leader exits from the partnership, you've lost something. So we have a Leaders Associates program that brings the leaders, senior leaders from the public school partnerships, cabinet level administrators and the superintendents, along with deans and associate deans and key personnel from the arts and sciences colleges. And then we have the dean and associate deans and key leadership from the McKay School of Education. We meet twice a year, and in those meetings we have discussions around key principles. We also talk about ways that we can work collaboratively together. Most significantly is we build relationships. We had the president of the university at Brigham Young University, Kevin J. Worthen, come to our Leaders Associates a year ago. And he was totally engaged in visiting with members from the 5 public school partnership districts. You can find him having a great amicable conversation. But that's a great example of how you have to nurture the leaders program and make sure that the leaders feel part of this system. You have to work at it.
We need to have high-quality schools for the students at the university to go and practice their skills and to fine-tune their skills to become better teachers. And we need high-quality university programs so that they're prepared when they go out.
They don't just happen. They have to be thoughtfully approached. And you have to know that if you're not committed to resources, that they'll never be as strong as they could be. And don't forget, the resources include not just money, but they include time and energy. So those are the things that I would pass along to any PDS that wants to improve and enhance their work as a partnership. As we collaborate together, we can improve and grow together. And it's a notion of simultaneous renewal, that when we collaborate and when we work together, we actually seek improvement together and we elevate each other to higher standards of performance and superior outcomes.